Hey there, Carl Newman here for you at Sport Fishing Buddy, and in this video I'm going to show you the 3 most important fishing knots that you need to know if you want to be able to tie a good fishing knot in almost every single fishing applications. I would say that these 3 knots cover 99% of all fishing scenarios that you're going to encounter. So if you know these 3 knots, you've got 99% of all fishing applications covered. I'm going to show you each of these in turn, and at the end I'm going to talk a little bit about what the best way is to use these knots. Okay, let's dive right in. The first knot that I'm going to show you is called the Uni Knot, and Uni stands for universal because this is literally the most versatile and universally applicable fishing knot there is, and it's one of the best ways to attach a fishing line to a hook or to anything else with an eye, such as a lure or a swivel. So let's take a look at how to tie this knot. You start with the hook in one hand and the line in the other hand. Then you pass the line through the eye of the hook. You bring it around so you have a long tag end. Then you take that tag end and you make a loop in it like this. So now you've got a loop in your tag end and you place that loop next to the main line. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this end of the tag end and you're going to pass it through the loop from the bottom. And you'll do that about 4 or 5 times depending on the thickness of the line. You can do it more often with thin line and less often with thicker line. So we're going to do it 4 times in this case. Once you've done that, you can then start cinching down the knot like this. You see, now this is a loop, but when you pull on the main line, it pulls the knot all the way down to the hook, and you can really pull hard, and that tightens the knot on the hook, and it's a very, very strong knot and extremely easy to tie. So once you've pulled on the tag end and on the main end, then just trim off the tag end and you're done. There you go. That's the Uni knot. Very easy to tie, and it works extremely well for any kind of line, including braid, monofilament, or fluorocarbon. So I suggest that this is one of the most important fishing knots to learn. So that was the Uni knot, which is also one of the strongest fishing knots. So if you're only going to learn one knot for fishing, it should be the Uni knot because it is literally the most useful fishing knot there is. Now, it does have one small disadvantage, and that is that it cinches down directly on top of the hook like this. And because of that, it tends to restrict the movement of the hook in the water. So the knot, which cinches down on top of the eye of the hook, makes the hook more stiff in the water. Or if you're tying it directly to a lure, this makes the lure more stiff in the water. Now, the next knot that I'm going to show you solves this problem because it doesn't cinch down directly on top of the hook. Instead, it attaches to the eye of the hook with a loop, and it's called the loop knot. And let's take a look at how to tie this knot. Okay, so we start this knot by tying a simple overhand knot in the line, but without cinching it down, like this. So here's the overhand knot that hasn't been cinched down, and now we're going to take the end of the line, we're going to pass it through the eye of the hook. And then we come back around, and we take the end of the line, we pass it through that loop that we created before. Bring it through there. And now we're going to tie another overhand knot with the tag end and the main line. So now you've got 2 overhand knots like this. We're going to cinch them down towards each other. And when they meet each other, they block each other from moving further. So now we've got this loop knot here, and it's attached to the hook with an open loop, which gives the hook a lot of freedom to move around. Let's say you're using a lure, that would give the lure a lot more freedom to move in the water. Okay, I'm going to tie off this tag end here to clean it up. That's the loop knot done, and I'm just going to show you how it compares to a Palomar knot, which I tied before. The Palomar knot cinches directly down on the hook. It's much harder to move, and the hook has less freedom to move, whereas with the loop, it has a lot of freedom, so it can really move a lot. Okay, so that was the loop knot. And both the loop knot and the uni knot are different ways to attach your fishing line to a lure or to a hook. And the third knot that I'm going to show you now is used to tie two different fishing lines together. And this is important if you're using a leader. So for example, if you're using a braid main line and then you're going to attach a monofilament or a fluorocarbon leader, you need to be able to tie those two different lines together with a knot that's strong enough so you're not going to lose fish. And the knot that I'm going to show you is called the double uni knot, which is an adaptation of the uni knot. And I'm going to show you with these two pieces of string because it's much easier to see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, let's dive right into it and see how to tie the double uni knot. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of the lines down, and I'm going to form a loop with the other line. So now I formed a loop with the black line like this, very simple loop. I'm going to take that loop, I'm going to hold it up against the white line like that. Now I'm going to start wrapping this tag end around the white line and passing it through the loop at the same time. I'm going to do that 3 times. If your line is thinner, then you can do this more often, and more often is better, so more loops are better. In this case, I'm using very thick line for demonstration purposes, so I'm only doing it 3 times. Once you've done your loops, then it's time to tighten the first knot. And you do that by pulling on the main line and by pulling on the tag end very gently until it forms this little barrel. That little barrel is the first uni knot. Now I haven't tightened it all the way, and that allows me to pull the white line through it quite easily. I'm going to do that so I have more line to work with. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. I'm forming this loop here with the white line. I'm going to take the tag end and I'm going to pass it through the loop and at the same time wrap it around the black line. I'm going to do that 3 times. Again, if your line is thinner, you should do it more often. But I'm just doing 3 times for the purpose of demonstration. Okay, so now I'm done wrapping it. I'm going to start tightening the knot. And again, you need to do this very gently, pulling on both ends without the knot coming apart. You want to get this tidy barrel that's sitting on top of the other line. Like this. So here is the second barrel, which is the second uni knot. And now I've got 2 uni knots like that. One here and one here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull both lines and slide them down towards each other. So now I have the 2 uni knots sitting on top of each other like this. I'm going to tighten all of the ends, pull on the tag ends, and pull on the main line. And now this knot becomes very strong. It's one of the strongest knots to hold 2 lines together. And at this point, you would trim off the tag ends like this. And now you're done. This is a double uni knot. Okay, so that was the double uni knot. Now, let's just summarize. I showed you the uni knot, which is the best general purpose knot to attach your fishing line to anything with an eye, which could be a lure, a hook, a swivel, or even a loop. So let's say you have a rig with a loop at the end. Well, you can use the uni knot to attach your line to that. And then I showed you the loop knot, which is a good choice if you're using a lure that needs to move a lot in the water. So for example, swim bait or crankbait, you want to give it more freedom by using a loop knot. Or if you're using live bait, so the live bait needs to move around in the water, and by using a loop knot, you give it a lot more freedom to move, which is going to entice fish to bite. Okay, then the last one is the double uni knot, which is one of the best ways to attach two lines to each other. And one hack that I want to give you with the double uni knot is to add super glue to the double uni knot after you've cinched it down. So this will increase its strength, and it will also glue down the tag ends of the knot, which makes it smoother if you need to pass it through the lines of your through the line guides of your rod. So if your leader is very long, the double uni knot may need to go through the eyes of your rod, and by gluing it down with super glue, you make it smoother, which makes it easier, especially if you're doing casting. Okay, that's it for this video. If you found it useful, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.